Alright, so we're back in the world of Nioh 3, and today guys, I want to present to you one of the funnest builds I've been playing for the last couple of days, actually the last couple of weeks. And this is my Jin Kazama build. I think that's the Tekken character name that does like the fists and kind of like waterish kind of thing. Whatever. This is my water lifesteal build. This build is one of my favorite builds simply because Nioh can be a little bit of a difficult game, but when you have the ability to lifesteal insane amounts of health, that kind of gets much easier to deal with. And with this build, I just kind of been cruising through bosses. Most of them, when they're even a couple of levels above me, I can absolutely decimate them. And a lot of this has to do with the fact that this healing build is just absurd. Now, breaking down how this build works is very simple. What we're taking advantage of is life recovery, specifically whenever we get any form of Amorite. This is your experience stuff, and this will start to give us some form of regeneration. Now, the great thing about this stat is it can be found on pretty much every single piece of gear, whether it's your weapons, your bows, your prayer beads, or whatever your accessories. You can find this stat on pretty much everything, and this opens up the possibilities of regenerating an insane amount of healing that can really keep you in the fight without needing any heals. Now, if you're watching any of the background footage, you'll notice that I don't even have a healing flask despite fighting some of the stronger bosses in the game. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that I have insane amounts of healing sustain. This was kind of more of a proof of concept kind of thing rather. But if you want to have heals on your bar, you can have it. But even then, you don't really need it unless you like make a massive mistake and you get like chain seed or something. Now, in addition to this, obviously we need a way to generate that Amorite. And there's a couple of ways to do that. First off, it's going to be from a stat called Gain Amorite on Strong Attack. This one is going to, once again, can be found on pretty much every piece of gear as well as any accessories. So this is going to be like one of your major ways. And whenever you do a strong attack, this is essentially going to give you Amorite gain. Now, in addition to this, we do have a couple of talismans that's going to help us that you can use that's going to help you with this. The first is going to be an extraction talisman. And what the extraction talisman does is essentially makes it so that you can get Amorite on every single hit, whether it's your light attack or heavy attack. Special moves doesn't matter, that's what it does. And this essentially means that as long as this extraction talisman is going, you're actively getting a ton of healing and life stealing in addition to what you're getting from like your strong attacks if you're like weaving them in. You get 5 charges of this, so you actually have this for a good portion of the fight. And seeing that you don't really need to play defensive unless you're like getting staggered heavy or something super dangerous, you're going to be able to essentially finish the fight long before you run out of all the talismans. Now, with all that said, I am going to jump right into the build and show you guys how to put the pieces together, where to find and all that good stuff. So let's dive into that part. All right, now that you have a better idea of how the build works, let's go over the parts. And first off, thank you all for being here. I do really appreciate you stopping by the channel. Now, first, we're going to be looking at our weapon, and the important thing to keep in mind for our gear, because this is just built around a singular stat or 2 stats, the weapon, the gear, it doesn't really matter too much. It's kind of what up to you and like what you have. But yeah, as you can see, I can only go with the fist because I want it to be a little more thematic. But yeah, just keep that in mind. So for example, this one, it rolled with auto life. As I said in the intro, whenever you get any form of Amorite absorption, this is going to grant you the ability to auto recover life. And this is a pretty nice stat because it just helps you just recover health and it just keeps you in the fight. Now, coming over to our bow, we also have it on our bow. I did want to click and show you every single time we get any instance of Amorite bonus, we're getting 31 healing, which is a insane amounts of numbers. If you're someone who can attack really fast, because this could work super good on like really fast attacking builds as well, this can be super valuable because you're just going to get so much healing. The faster your attack is, the better. If you get fast heavy attacks, that's even better. So that works extremely well. So just keep that in mind. For our helmet, we got another helmet that has, once again, life recovery, Amorite absorption. We did get some damage taken stuff on this, which actually helps when you're questing. And I didn't say this in the intro or anything, but when you're questing with this build, like you're like exploring the map and you're not fighting bosses, healing is not really needed because just your main attacks, your base attacks, your combo string will just keep you healed. And that's the beauty of the build, that while you're just doing general exploration, you're building up elixirs, you're saving on heals. Like I don't have the heal on my bar. I probably said this in the intro. I don't have the heal on my bar at all. I don't need it because I can just sustain heals. And that's kind of the beauty of this build. While you're questing and getting to the bosses, you're actually just building up elixir. So once you do get to the boss fight, if you somehow are having a hard time killing it, you'll be able to put the elixirs in to give you extra additional healing for that emergency heal, and it's just super good. Anyway, going off on the tangent, just wanted to point that out. Coming over here to our chest, we're gonna have some more Amorite gain on strong attack, which is gonna give us 18, which is super good. Amorite charge gauge, which is good whenever you get any form of Amorite, you can actually charge your Amorite gauge a lot faster, which is great. And then we get some more life steal when we do any range attack, which again is super good for when you're questing. Shoot your gun, you're gonna get healing. This is like a vampire leech build. It's like insane. Next, we have the Ronin gloves, which is going to have us more Amorite absorption. For our leggings, we once again have Amorite absorption. Straightforward, nothing too special here. Amorite absorption. And finally, for our feet, we have Amorite gain on strong attack. Honestly, I would prefer Amorite absorption on everything and then have Amorite gain on strong attacks on one thing, but you know, this is the best we have and this works extremely well. Our equipment load is sitting at 52%, which is green, meaning we're not going to really worry about, you know, equipment. We're going to have good stamina, and that's super good. And that has nothing to do with our skills. This is just purely from the weight, because we picked efficient stuff and we're a stamina build. And that's the important thing to keep in mind when we're talking about like the fist. The fist actually is stamina scaling. So when you build up stamina, you get less weight and you don't actually have to invest into any weight related things, which is kind of nice. Moving on over to our accessories, you want prayer beads. Prayer beads, in my opinion, are the best because they typically come with some form of like life recovery on Amorite. So this one, for example, got life recovery on Amorite absorption. And then in addition to this, we got some spirit force gain bonus whenever we do any form of water damage, and some elixir drop rate, which again helps us with healing pretty effectively, making our elixir drop rate 28%, which is pretty absurd. Then our second accessory is going to be life recovery Amorite with bonus again. Then we have an unfortunate stealth, but I mean, this isn't a min-max build or anything, so pretty good on our equipment. Coming over to our stats, I just want you to keep in mind that contingent upon your level, you're going to like adjust, right? But for the most part, what you're trying to meet is 17 magic, so you can have enough for your talismans, a few in intelligence, because the prayer beads you require intelligence, and then you're gonna just try to meet your stat requirements. That's minimum. So I needed 13 skill and 15 strength, or vice versa. And then everything else you can kind of put what you want freely. I put 5 value points into heart just for the stamina. I put 25 into constitution, well 24. Then the rest is hyper invested into stamina, since my weapon skill offers stamina damage. I just like the extra HP from constitution because it just makes it easier. But if you're like more careful, just go with like more stamina or more strength, because these scales your damage of your fist. So great options there. Next, let's talk about our soul cores, because these are super important. For our yang position soul core, we're going to be using a new Upupo soul core, whatever that word is. We're going to be using this one. This one's going to give us life as well as Amorite absorption, life recovery, which is a good value of 12. And this is a massive portion of our life steal. In order to get this one, it's pretty simple. As you're progressing through the game, you're going to essentially come here to the Hamamatsu castle. And you need to do the mission that's called Headaches, where he's like complaining about his headache. When you do that mission chain, which is going to take you like, I think like this way or something like that, you'll get the medicine, come back to him, and then he'll tell you to go fight the guy in the courtyard, like right here. That's all you need to do. So you just need to do this quest. It takes like, I don't know, around like level 30, you should expect to do this, 30 to 31, so fairly early in the game. The other one I'm going to be using specifically here is the Mermaid Soul Core, because you do get some life drain when you deal water damage, and then this gives you more faster movement. This one is purely interchangeable depending on where you are at the game. This one is purely up to you. If you're using something that's a different element, go ahead and don't, use a different one. It doesn't really matter, but use it appropriate to your element. Next, we're using the Maelstrom Oni by Soul Core. This is the ice version, or the water version, which offers a water talisman. As I said a second ago, doesn't really matter what you're using here. This is just pure flavor for you. If you want to use the water talisman, I'll tell you where you can get it. Literally, these in this area, once you get to the second area, like immediately once you get to the second area, they'll be all in this village. Like literally at this shrine here, the Camo Village Shrine, there will be a guy that spawns right here at the door. Another thing we're going to be using is the Gakai Chief Soul Core. This one is the Extraction Talisman. This is going to be your primary way of life stealing extremely easy without just having to spam your heavy. So this one is super important to have. Once again, this one is a super early game one you can get very, very early. There are a couple of missions early in the first region, but one place I can distinctly remember one being it's within this little dark realm here that's get purified. There will be one here. Hopefully you get the drop, but yeah, there's a guaranteed one here. And then even in the first area, there's like a mission you got to do in this village area over here. Then this one, Insatiable Hunger. You do this mission, you just basically walk here, and there will be another one here. I find it hard to believe you wouldn't get one, but those are two deterministic spawn locations where you can get it. So go ahead and get those. Next, we're going to be using the Mizuki Soul Core. And what this does is, at least the Talisman is going to give us Cutting Blast Talisman. And this basically imbues your attack with this like wave of damage. And whenever you actually do it, it's going to just essentially, I wouldn't say double, but it gives you a pretty significant damage increase. I would say almost double your damage whenever you do any form of heavy attack. And since we're going to be doing heavy attack to give us extra lifesteal anyway, this is going to be super valuable for it. Mizuki is a very easy one to find in the very first zone. He's like level, I don't know, 8 or something. You'll find him here. I'm pretty sure it's a guaranteed drop, so make sure you go fight him there. Super easy boss. Finally, and this one, while I wouldn't say mandatory at all, is a great option, but this one is going to be much more towards your mid to late game. And this is once again the Mermaid Soul Core. And what this gives is the Life Leech Talisman, and essentially all you do is you throw it at them, and this will put a debuff on them for whenever you hit them, you get some form of life absorption after a delay. And you'll notice in some of the footage when I'm fighting things, I get a massive amount of healing from this. And like, this is part of the reason why, you know, if you're in those moments where it can be a little tough, or, you know, you're just trying to learn the boss, just hit them with the talisman to start it, and you'll be fine. Now, in order to find the mermaid, you do need to come to the second major zone, and you're going to find a stack of mermaids from this one here. That's a lot of words I don't know, so I'm just not going to say it. You're just going to come to this direction here, and then right here as well. So here and here, there will be some mermaids. That is all for our soul course. Let's go over our skills. For our common skills, we're going to be running Fortitude, Attack Master 1, and Attack Master 2. I do not recall where I got Fortitude from, but Attack Mastery is pretty straightforward. Attack Mastery 1 is going to be found in this building here within the first zone. And Attack Mastery 2 is going to be found in this building here within this zone. You got to go around here and then sneak in, and you jump down the roof and they'll be in there. So this is the other Attack Mastery. Another valuable one to pick up is Awakening. This is going to allow you to use your magic much faster. This one is a very simple one we've gone over a few times already. You just simply need to come here. Sorry, it's a little laggy for some reason. Talk to this lady at level 16. Level 16. And you just come here and you'll do this mission. The Way of Onemo Novice. Once you have that, you'll have Awakening. And this one's really, really big. Then finally, we have the Key Sapping follow-up. And what this does is increase damage dealt by melee attacks against enemies that have run out of key and are in a winded state. So the moment you start winding enemies and they're out of key, you can start really beating them up and getting a lot of extra damage. This one's super, super nice, not mandatory. Now this one is very steep into the game, and this is kind of why I said this one's a low priority, because I'm sure a lot of you are still probably early on. But if you are at the point where you can get here, you simply come here to this area near the I'm not going to read that, this teleporter, and you're going to come here where this Crucible Wraith is, and if you come here at the roof, it'll be sitting there. Super easy to get. For our Samurai, we're going to be using Defense Master 2. You can either use 1 or 2 depending on how much points you want. These are pretty valuable. You're going to also be using Unshakable and Oppressive Strength. Unshakable, this is like, I think the very first one you get on the map. It is up here at Prospect Hill. You're just going to run down the path and it's going to be like sitting right here in the field. Oppressive Strength is also in this region near this base. I don't recall exactly, but it's in this region here. Oppressive Strength, or maybe it's up here. Whatever the case is, it's either in this temple or is in this area. Just clear this area and you'll eventually get it, or maybe just Google it. I don't recall exactly where it was. When it comes to the ninja, it really doesn't matter. I just went with anything that had aerial stuff. I don't even know if the ninja stuff applies to the samurai stuff. Like if you're in samurai form, you get this stuff. I don't know if that's how it works because I just don't play ninja. But in the event that it does work that way, and someone leave a comment, I just grab all of the things that give you any form of like aerial damage reduction or damage, because you do a lot of like shurikens and stuff like that, and you're in the air and you do like belly flops and stuff. So this could be a value. I'm not going to tell you where these are because I just straight up don't remember and don't even think I recorded it. Finally, going over to our skill tree, let's talk about the things I think that are important, or at least what I use. What I personally have a big fan of is using Stomp. When you stomp your feet, this increases the power of your next martial art. So I'll use this on Command E left click, and then I'll usually follow up with some form of kick. And that's usually the spinning kick here, which can be another great option. Or you can use kick cycle, which is also pretty good. Ideally, you would get kick cycle water eventually, but we don't have access to the martial arts guide for that just yet. I don't know where is that, but this is what I would use. Anything else is kind of really up to you. Just grab whatever you can, whatever point you have. We're mainly playing in the low stance, so just keep that in mind. We play in the low stance. I probably should have said that at the very beginning. You're playing this in the low stance most of the time, so grabbing all the low stance stuff can be of value to you. I did play medium stance sometimes, but most of the time we're playing in low stance, so just keep that in mind. All right, and there you have it. That is my unkillable water bending, life stealing fighter Jin Kazama build. I don't know what this build is going to be called. We'll see what we title this, but yeah, that's my build. I really like this build a lot. It got me through pretty much every fight in the game, just kind of mindlessly playing. And if you like do any form of like thinking, you can really like dominate with these builds. Nonetheless, super fun build. Let me know down in the comments if you think there's some improvements I can make on the build, or just let me know what you would like to see in the future, because there is a lot of options here in Nioh where I can make some really awesome builds. As always, if you did find the video helpful, make sure to drop me a like as well as subscribe to the channel. That really helps me out a ton. So yeah, make sure to do that. That really helps. And just like that, guys, I will see you in the next one very soon.